Now in its 10th year, this is GabNet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey, hey everybody, live from Harlem in New York City. Yes, it's the Ramble with me, Alex Bennett. Talking to us from indoors because it's windy, right?
Absolutely.
Down there in FLA, Florida. And here's Lori Thompson once again. Yay. Hello, Lori.
Hey.
How are you?
Jazz hands.
Yeah, jazz hands. Hey, how's your life been going down there in Florida?
It's going well. We've been traveling so much, and I'm not bitching about it. It's just kind of nice to be home for a stretch. So you end up doing all the things that you couldn't do when you were on a big ship.
Let me ask you a question about today, for instance, I was looking at a tour of the Mediterranean
Yes.
on Virgin, and it's a big ship, and the one thing, though, that they say is no kids.
You'd like that. Now, kids, as a rule, on the cruises we take now, if you went on Margaritaville, you would encounter kids. It's a floating amusement park on Margaritaville.
Right, exactly.
And Carnival, quite a few kids. Princess, some kids. Like Avalon, almost no
Well, this
kids.
is Virgin, and they say no kids.
Yeah, they say put it right up front. Well, that's good.
Yeah. So that's the first part. I mean, Marjorie hates the idea of one of these big cruises because she hates so many people. And I tell her that from everybody I've talked to, that if you take one of those, you don't really feel all those people.
You don't. It's like because some of these cruise ships are bigger than my hometown, and and I knew everybody in my hometown, so that you eventually could get to know everybody on a 6,000 ship.
Yeah.
But
we don't want 6,000. I'm sorry.
Oh gosh, no. I would go. That's why we love Azamara. Their crowds tend to be more genteel, mellower, and but just they keep you entertained. They have have all kinds of excursions. You can scuba dive. You can zip line.
Oh boy, I want to go scuba diving.
Yeah, we actually rode horses in the ocean.
Actually, I probably do better in water than I'm doing on land now.
Right. You can at least float if you get tired.
Well, actually, if I could, I should really start swimming. That would get the legs going again.
That would, and it's such good exercise. If you could do one thing, walking too, but swimming.
I mean, I was a major swimmer. I used to swim like crazy.
Did you really?
And then all of a sudden I stopped, because I was nowhere near a pool or water or whatever, and I just...
See, access is everything when it comes to hobbies.
Well, when I was a kid, like I was afraid of swimming. I couldn't get in the water. I was afraid of water because I had almost drowned once.
That'll do it for you.
Yeah, that'll do it for you. And so what I did, though, is somebody finally got sick and tired. I think it was my father got sick and tired of me being afraid of the water and just took me and pushed me in.
Just here.
And I swam to the edge of the pool, and I went, hey, I can swim.
It's a great feeling when
and then
it kicks in.
you couldn't get me out of the water.
Right.
I was underwater. I loved going underwater and swimming the length of a pool underwater.
It's like I'm in a different world.
And you begin to really envy what do you call it?
Porpoises.
Porpoises and people,
Mermaids.
animals that are in the water.
Yeah.
I also like to be a bird because I love birds. I mean, I think they have the best life because they look down on you.
Right. Oh.
Yes.
And I think they can exact revenge because of that. Like I had to go to Destin this morning, and you have to go along a bridge. It's less than 2 miles, but it's of some length.
Yeah.
And there was a huge pelican flying over me. And I thought, dude, if you drop a load on me on this day after I lost a good friend, I'm gonna get out and I'm gonna just throw things at you.
Yeah, right.
I'll never
Right.
forget.
The pelican, his beak holds more than his bellycan.
Oh, did you learn that at camp, at summer camp?
I knew that one. I don't know where I got that one from.
No, all the limericks I learned from you were naughty.
No,
They're-
that's not a limerick. A limerick
No.
has a pentameter to it. It's the da 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 da. There was a young lady from the Azores who's I won't go into
See, I
that.
knew that one. Don't that. I can't get that out of my
It's
mind.
disgusting. It's
It
disgusting.
is so disgusting. I mean, because it's too visceral. I mean, you can actually see. That's
Well,
the first
there was a
limerick
young
I-
lady from the Azores whose blank was all covered with sores. As she
so
walked
gross.
down the street, the dogs ate the green meat that hung in festoons from her drawers.
I know that's the part, the green meat. It's just that you
The
can't
green
say
meat,
it
yeah.
without thinking about it, and then thinking of it in the context
Well,
of the story.
There is no such thing as a clean limerick. It's always
No.
meant to be a bawdy form of poetry.
Really?
Yes.
That was his intention.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of any right now. I made up one once for a friend and made it so it was clean, but that's the cleanest I've ever heard any limerick, you know.
Yeah, because I remember that one about the girl from Azores.
There was a young woman I knew who closed her vagina with glue. She said with a grin, "If they pay to get in, they'll pay to get out of it too." That's the
Yes, they all involve things in your in a
usually
woman's
they
lower
have to
torso.
do with women's vaginas. That's the problem.
Yes,
Yeah.
snatches play a huge role in limericks.
Let's talk about something that we may as well. This is catharsis for us, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
We got some news yesterday that was very distressing to us. I had a producer on and off for many years.
Mm-hmm.
Long period on, then a long period off, then a long period on, and I had a kind of semi-contentious, but became a really loving relationship.
Yeah,
With
you
this
two were
person.
fire and ice.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was fire and ice. It really
Yeah.
was. And her name at the time was Christy Frazier. That's probably what most people who are watching us, who will listen to the morning show at Live 105, or even at the Quake, knew her as Christy Frazier. She then became Christy Andrade, and Christy.
I was in her wedding to Andrade. I was a bridesmaid.
You were a bridesmaid at that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't behave anything like Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah. By that marriage, she had 2 kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And Joe and Nick.
Yeah.
Were
And
great boys.
when I first met her, I met her at the Quake. You couldn't avoid her. She was probably, I would say, one of the most stunning-looking women I've ever seen in my life.
Gorgeous. She was part Portuguese, and she was gorgeous.
She was absolutely ravishing.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that everybody who ever came into the studio either hit on her or just stared at her.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah, and she got the nickname Boom Boom.
Well,
Because she
I gave her that name.
You did?
I think
She
so.
was anatomically very blessed.
Yeah, she was incredibly blessed.
But
Oh, there. I didn't mean to say that.
Freudian slip, Freudian lingerie.
She was well endowed, but
Endowed.
also forget it. Her face, she was just gorgeous,
Exquisite.
just absolutely
And
exquisite.
Yeah.
And even as years went on, and I knew her, she really stayed rather ravishing looking. She was
She aged quite well.
quite well until the later years when she came down with breast cancer. Oddly enough,
Yeah. And even through the early stages of that, she was still
yeah.
beautiful.
I just saw a picture that her husband published of her recently, and it doesn't look a lot like her. You know,
She's so thin.
Yeah.
She's just so thin.
Yeah.
And cancer will do to people.
Yeah.
And
Anyway, she's battled cancer for about the last
6 or 7.
7 years, I think it said.
Yeah.
And her husband, Sam Wilmore.
Whitmore.
Whitmore.
He has a media service.
Sam Whitmore. What was I going to say about Sam Whitmore? Outside of
She married him.
Yeah,
That
she
was her
married him.
last.
They actually came here and stayed here at least
Yeah.
once, maybe 2 times. And
Yeah.
he was really a great guy. You know, she had
Yeah.
finally wound up with a good husband. You know?
Yes, that's what we do. That's
You
what we
know,
wanted.
and a
for
marriage that lasted a long
20
time.
years,
Huh?
maybe almost 20. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
because they
any-
came through hometown,
Yeah.
and my parents had a house in Clinton where they lived, but they had a condo in Bloomington, the boomtown, and they stayed there for a week, and we got to hang out and went to female roller derby, went to rodeos, we went to everything
Yeah.
that the Midwest has to offer.
But I always nickname people. I think I nicknamed her Boom Boom. I didn't remember that, but
She told me about it. I never knew her as the Boom Twice, but I was told that that was her nickname. That perhaps you had a hand in it. Yes.
yeah. But and I wasn't referring to the accoutrement. I was actually just relating to just hey, Boom Boom. She's
Yeah.
But anyway, we got news yesterday that she had died.
Yeah.
And she was 61. She was young,
Yeah. And I met her through you. She
Yeah.
was your producer. And I can still remember the first time we were all together.
Yep.
And, I had met her and thought, man, she's great. And then we all were together for the first time. And we, had never been all of us together. And I thought, this could be fun. This could be fun.
Yep. So, that was, and she followed me over to Live 105 where you met
Yeah.
her, her.
Yes.
And she was my producer for about a year.
Mhm.
I got rid of her because here was the problem. Number one, she was young. She was maybe, by the time you met her, 22. Okay?
A little older than that.
Not a lot of experience in producing a show. And what happens sometimes with people who produce a show and it's the first time they've ever done it, they become terribly protective of it.
Yes.
Yeah. More so than I'm even protective of it, and I'm the one that's supposed to be protective of it, right? And she was very protective of it. And at one point, I was doing the show one day, and during a break, and you may even remember it, she came in and started yelling at me about something I had done. And said, "You do this, you shouldn't be doing this, Alex." And she's yelling at me and screaming at me, and the audience is all,
They
and,
probably thought, window seat.
and the guests are looking at each other like, what's this about? And after it was over, I went to the boss. I said, "I think we got to get rid of her. She's taken too much possession of the show." And so she was pregnant at the time, so I got them to not fire her, but to simply move her laterally to something else. Okay.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember it.
Yeah.
And then she started working with our office manager, who she adored, Roz, and it seemed to work out. It was pretty smooth. And then she had the baby. You've never seen someone snap back into shape so fast. I mean, boom, she had the baby, and then like the next day, she was back to her original curves.
Amazing. But I didn't feel good about that, but I didn't feel bad either because I had to do a show and I it was very embarrassing to have this thing happen. So
Yeah.
between that time and the next time I met up with her was quite a period of time. I think you stayed at Live 105 after I left, right?
I lived at Live 105 from my 20s till my almost 40s.
Let's see. And then I came back. I don't know if she was there at that time.
I don't think she was.
No, she wasn't.
She worked at CNET, which is where she met her husband.
Oh, no, wait a minute. CNET was also me.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's take it in order here. So
Okay.
I didn't see her or hear from her for a couple of years at least, and I had finally gone through the coming back to Live 105 and then no longer being at Live 105.
Yeah.
And my friends at Play Incorporated wanted to hire me to run their Play TV. They wanted to try a live TV program every day, or programs every day, for about 12 hours, to kind of showcase this piece of equipment they were trying to sell.
A toaster.
No, this wasn't the toaster. This was the Trinity, they called it.
Oh yeah, they had
There's
so
a
many
big
things.
box. The toaster they did at New Tech, and it was a small card. This was a big box.
Yeah.
But
They were
anyway,
innovators. Yeah, for sure.
anyway, so I went. I was working out of Sacramento for a short time, and also out of my apartment. And finally, we were going to start doing all these shows, and I get a call from Christy, and she says to me, "Hi, I haven't talked to you in a couple of years." She said, "The reason I'm calling is I'm calling everybody I know." She said, "I just left my husband. I need a job. Do you know of anything?" I said, "Would you mind working with me again?" She said, "No." I said, "Good, let me see what I can get you here." So we hired her on as a producer out of my apartment, out of my office, in a second apartment that we used as a studio in the office.
Right.
And she
Yeah, I
literally
remember that.
ran the office and everything for about a year until that came to an end. And so I helped her get out of the house and get rid of her husband.
Yeah, because that
Basically.
was a trauma. Like I say, I remember the night she met him, and felt she was smitten quite quickly. And then I also was in their wedding, and then they came to my house in San Mateo with Dr. Greenblatt a couple times, and then all of a sudden I was hearing about these infidelities that had been going on, not on her part, but on the part of her first husband,
Yeah.
who was a good enough guy. But a lot of people, infidelity is just a part of their first marriage.
That happens,
Yeah,
And
but it shocked me.
but anyway, she came to work for me there, and I don't know how long that lasted. Maybe a year, maybe a little longer than that, But she ran the office, and she produced the show, and she was like, and did a great job, just a
Yeah.
great job. She had matured, and she had changed, and she wasn't as critical of me, and things like that. And not because she was afraid I'd fire her again or anything like that, but just
No,
because.
but she gained perspective.
But she had also gained maturity in how to handle the job and so on. Because the nature of the job of being producer is, you have no other duty but to take care of me, to make
Yeah.
sure I look good.
Yes.
So, but anyway, we had a great relationship there, and then Play Incorporated went bankrupt, and I went over to CNET, and I needed a producer, so I hired her over as a producer there. So now she was my following producer, would follow me everywhere I went, and eventually, after about a year there, I got let go, but they didn't let her go, which was fine, and she spent many years at CNET.
Right, that's where she met her husband.
Met her current husband.
Yeah.
So she stayed there, and then the next time I heard from her, we were living here in New York, and she and her husband were moving from California up to Maine, I think it was. And they stayed with us for a couple of days, and we kept in contact, and then all of a sudden we lost contact. It was like I would hear from her all the time, and then all of a sudden she wouldn't write anymore. And I think that had something to do with the fact that she had cancer.
I definitely think so, because we, at the beginning of this year, had a series of real fun exchange of phone calls, like almost every week for about, let's say, a month and a half, 2 months. And she mentioned that it was difficult to call people because the cancer then becomes the only topic. And half the time she just wanted to laugh. And so that's where.
Well, that's what I assume now in retrospect, is that she didn't want to talk to anybody because that would eventually come up in the conversation, and she didn't want to talk about it.
Right, because she knew about it. She lived it every day, just a break. And that's why we had a lot of discussions. We used to go out to lunch. I mean, sometimes you'd take us out to lunch. We'd go to the Altamira with a great view.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but she and I went to lunch almost every day. And there was a place called the Patio in the Castro, and we'd drink copious mimosas and discuss very metaphysical things. And so when I heard that she had passed away, because of some of these very epic discussions that we've had, I didn't think of her as dying as much as just graduating, maybe passing on. That's to use a more common phrase. But knowing her views on the afterlife, I I didn't have see, but we couldn't have those kind of conversations. I would broach them when she had cancer because now we were talking about something that was not just abstract. It was going to happen.
A reality, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just grieved me a great deal because I always remember her as a terribly sweet woman.
Oh, warm
and
and genuine.
and a good person, and somebody that I had a contentious relationship at one point, but it was a professionally contentious relationship.
Yeah.
Nothing personal, okay?
Yeah.
And she, she meant a lot to me. She really did. When I heard that she died, it just, especially at 61, come on,
Yeah.
You still got some
Just
years
the
left
us.
to have some fun. And she
Yeah.
finally met a wonderful guy. I mean, Sam's a wonderful guy.
She was crazy, but they were crazy about each other.
Yeah.
Or see, I still don't feel comfortable talking about her in the past tense because I feel knowing her
Yeah.
views of the
Well, I
afterlife.
wrote him an email expressing my
Condolences.
sadness over his loss. I really do not use that term. I'm sorry for your loss. I just, because when my father died, my mother died, I got so sick of people coming up to me and saying, "I'm so sorry for your loss." I know they
Yeah.
have nothing. It's a very awkward situation, and they don't have anything else to say that way. But
Yeah.
I didn't want to say that, so I wrote him and I said, "I know that you've had a lot of people say things wonderful about her and so on, and I'm sure all I have to say is that she meant a lot to me, and I can understand your grief at this moment." I whatever I wrote, and he wrote back and said, "If it weren't for you, I never would have met Christy." He said, "Because I
That's-
became." What? What were you going to say?
That's right, because of the CNET connection.
Yeah, that's when he came into contact with her. And he said, "If you, my life might have turned out differently if you hadn't done what you did,
Yeah.
So I thought that was very nice of him to write back.
Very classy.
At a time
Now,
like this.
I don't have much contact information for him, but I sent emails to her sons, Nick and Joe. And
Yeah.
so
If you go to his website, do you know his website?
yeah,
Just look up Sam Whitmore, and it goes to his website, and then on a page about or something, it has his email address at the bottom. I give it to you, but I don't want to give it. I'll give it to you when we're in the break between
okay.
these things. Yeah.
Because, it was just the first time ever in my life, even when my mom died, that I can remember looking at the phone and just hollering, no, 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 for about, seemed like 5 minutes, much less probably.
Well,
but I was
I
just
mean,
like, couldn't believe it.
Again, this is not a person who was not part of my life, okay? Or,
Right.
They say, "Oh, so and so, such and such a comedian died, and the guy was a guest on my show once,"
Yeah.
But this is somebody who's meant a lot to me in my life,
Yeah.
and it's just another one gone. It's just another person to check off,
It's bizarre too because I mean she was the first probably BFF that I had in San Francisco when she would invite me to their home, for Christmas because my family didn't live out there. I had
Yeah.
the family out,
Yeah.
and just a genuinely warm.
So if
gracious-
everybody can understand this, you can get a small idea of how much Lori and I are affected by this, because it isn't just a passing friend.
right, it's
somebody-
someone that was in
well,
every day, every day.
When did I meet her? Maybe 1974, something like that? 75?
It would have been no, it would have been
74.
later than that. It
No,
would have been 70, early 70s.
early 70s. I'm saying 70, yeah. So, I mean, that's
I mean, I'm sorry, early 80s, I think.
that's how
Mid
many
no,
that's how many
no,
years ago? No,
we're
not
dark. Yeah,
not
no,
early.
you would know better than I.
Wait a minute, early 80s. Wait a minute, 70s. Well,
Mid
yeah, I
mid
was here.
sev-
I was in New York in the 70s. I was in San Francisco in the 80s. So it was
mm,
about 84, 83
mm.
that I first
Yeah,
met her at the Quake,
yeah. Then
and
we worked together in
and that's how
'86.
many years ago? Yeah,
Many.
many decades.
Yeah,
You know,
math doesn't really flatter us at this age,
no,
so I avoid it.
neither does anything else. But you know, hey, listen, we've run out of time, but I'm glad we could do this little tribute to a really wonderful woman who meant a lot to us. You know,
Yes.
and I'm sure people who listen to the radio show in San Francisco know who I'm talking about. Christy Frazier, later Andrade, then finally Whitmore, and died a happy woman, I think.
Oh yeah.
You know, her life had resolved itself very nicely.
Great kids, great husband,
Yeah.
beautiful place to
Anyway,
live.
I'll talk to you next week. How's that?
That sounds lovely.
Lori Thompson.
Now in its 10th year, this is GabNet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
And there we go with Lori Thompson once again. Always a pleasure to talk to Lori. Not under pleasant circumstances this week, but certainly we want to take our time to, at least for one episode with her, do a tribute to Christy Frazier, who meant a lot to us, meant a lot to her, and meant a lot to me. It was an evolving kind of relationship that Christy and I had, and then towards the end of her life, we completely resolved. I mean, we resolved it when I hired her on at Play TV, and she just, she went from the early days of kind of not being a great producer because she was too wrapped up in the show. She so felt she owned part of it that she was possessive of it. And she, by the time came to me at Play TV, she had matured phenomenally, and literally was a savior to me. She ran the office. She produced the show. She was a real became a real professional. And after that point, and then I brought her over to CNET as well. And after all of that, we kind of parted ways because we weren't working with each other anymore. But she stayed at CNET and was there for God, I can't tell you how many years. She was at CNET and found a place there. And then when she was at CNET, she met her husband, her current husband, and Sam, who's a wonderful guy. And he wrote me a note today. He said, if it weren't for you, I probably never would have met her because, I was listening to you at CNET, and then I kind of looked her up, and it turned into a wonderful thing. And I'm happy I could be part of that. But we're going to miss her, and we just wanted you to know what a wonderful person had left our midst at this point. And a lot of people are just a lot of people really shocked by it. I wasn't shocked by it because I knew she had been ill over the last couple of years. She had problems with what do you call it? With breast cancer. And I had heard that it had gotten worse from, I think it was Lori a while back. So when I heard about it, I wasn't that amazed by it, It didn't come as that big a surprise, but to other people it did because they didn't even know that was going on because they hadn't talked to her in years. But anyway, we have two people waiting to come on tonight. Is it worth doing a show? I guess it's worth doing a show. We'll try it for now, and let's see here. What do we want to do? Well, we want to bring Zoom on. Okay, there. That's me on Zoom. Okay. And then we got to bring the people in on Zoom. Let me see here. Where do I'm so out of it today that I got to remember how to go to Zoom. Okay, so we will go to, yes, Zoom there, and we go to Zoom, and then I got to click on here to bring these people in. Okay, view. Okay, there we go. Okay, here we are. And now we go admit all. There we go. Okay, I'm just a little out of it tonight. And here is, let's see here, we have Tom Yamaguchi. Hi, Tom. How are you?
Fine. I'm sorry to hear about Christy. I also knew her, obviously, because I used to be a part of your studio audience.
Yeah. And you got to know.
She was always very nice to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was really, really nice. And how sad, 61. That is awful. Really horrible.
Well,
I didn't know she had cancer.
Yeah, I've known it for had it for about 7 years, and I've known about it for about 7 years.
Okay.
But I heard about a third party, or second party, or whatever party. It's no party. But I heard about it kind of second hand because once she got cancer, we had been in a lot of contact with each other. Marjorie was friends with her, talking to her, writing her back and forth, and all of a sudden she stopped writing, and she stopped communicating with us. And I think part of that is that when you get something like that, maybe you just don't want to talk about it, and so you avoid even talking to people, period, rather than dealing with it. And she was always in my mind, and I was always thinking about her. And I heard about this illness. I can't remember through who, but somebody, it might have been Lori, told me that she had come down with breast cancer. This was several years ago, 7 years ago. And apparently she got rid of it, but then it came back. There was some other, complication. It's just, it's sad because, it's somebody I know, somebody who was very important, an important part of my life.
Yeah.
And here we go. Bye. See you later. Another one. Gone. Huh?
Far too young.
Far too young. Far too young. 61. And her husband, she had a wonderful, her final years were good years for her because she had a wonderful husband. I really liked the guy, I said that to Marjorie after they came over and spent a weekend here or something. And I said to Marjorie, I said, boy, he's a nice guy. Yeah, he's terrific. Harry Smalls. Who is Harry Smalls?
Oh, that gotta be a fake thing.
Gotta be a fake name. Shall I put my picture on here for a second? Let's see who Harry Smalls is.
Do we have to look at this?
And Harry Smalls, and it's not going to be, there's no such guy as Harry Smalls, right? He's going to show us something
well, Derek Smalls was a character on Spinal Tap.
Yeah, well, Harry Smalls.
Hello.
How do I get rid of him here?
Well,
what did I do?
Hello. He's talking.
Oh, if you have no picture, we can't see you.
We can't see. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Well, why aren't we seeing a picture on you?
My camera's not working at the moment.
Well, then we really can't talk with you, to tell you the truth. It doesn't.
Okay, I'm sorry. I can leave.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay. Bye. Let's see here. There we go. He actually went away, folks. Okay.
I figured his camera was going to work about any second now, and he was going to.
Yeah, when you least expect it, yeah.
It sounds like a version of Harry Balls, doesn't it?
Yeah.
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 Oh, well, No, but anyway, so I heard about this. Chuck Farnham wrote me a note and said she had died. And I wasn't too sure he was right, and he wasn't even 100% sure he was right, although he heard it from what he considered a good source. So I started checking it out, and I went to her husband's website, and there was a notice there that she had died. So,
It's not easy, I'm sure. Not that I'm being ageist, but at your age, you see a lot of friends die. You know,
Unfortunately.
when you get into your 80s, most people don't live into their 80s, so you're going to see a lot of your friends die, unfortunately.
Well, you know, I mean, we have to admit that that's always a possibility. You know,
Part of life, you know.
well,
It is part of life.
you live long, and you're going to see people around you go. You know, and I'm tired of it. Kind of makes me bothers me. I wish people would keep living a little longer. You know, so maybe I should just make younger friends or something. But then there's no telling when you die anyway. So, you know.
Then they'll be sad when we die. So.
Yeah, I guess. Well,
Yeah, maybe.
you know, you'll be bored of me by the time I die. So, you know,
You'll be around another 10 or 15 years.
I doubt that.
You're too obstreperous, you know. You gotta keep us going.
Yeah, I don't know though. I don't feel how do I put this? You know, I mean, I don't feel 100% well, but maybe it's something I'm not used to, and that's called age. You know, and as you age, there's certain things that don't work as well as they used to. So, anyway.
Oh, isn't that the truth? Oh,
Speak for yourself.
Yeah,
okay, sorry.
but anyway, you know. Well,
I've had a fun couple days.
hmm?
I've had a fun couple days after owning my HP printer 2 years.
Mhm.
I want to cancel my HP Plus.
Oh.
And they just, for the first time in 2 years, sent me brand new cartridges. And if I cancel my HP Plus, the cartridges brick. They no longer become.
Yeah, they don't work. They turn it off. Yeah.
Right. So now I got to go out. I've spent this $7 and some change for 18 months because the first 6 months were free. And now I got to go out and buy brand new ink cartridges for this thing or get a new printer.
Well, here's what happens with HP, and this is why I had an HP printer that was working, you know,
Uh,
and then one of the cartridges went out, as you say, and I tried to replace it with one of the phony cartridges, you know,
and that won't work.
and those don't work. So I decided that I just didn't like any of them. Okay, and I didn't. Excuse me. This guy is trying to sign in over and over again with different names, and you know, I'm not supposed. You know, I can't. I'm not supposed to get used to them. Let's see. But I keep looking. Olivia Madison. Anybody know an Olivia Madison? I don't.
No.
Terrible about the thing about this is I would really like to be able to say to people, hey, you know, I really want you to call our show, and then just have people call the show. But you know, this is the reason we don't get anybody new, is because we're not stuck with you guys, but I have to put you on because I know who you are. But when they start putting on these phony names, you know, I'm not going to respond.
Maybe you should get a producer to screen your calls.
Well, but there's no way to screen calls doing Zoom. Okay.
Well, you could have a waiting room. You know, like you could have different rooms, and your producer could have take the calls and then transfer them to your room.
No, you can't do that with a
Really?
No.
Because I do work with Zoom conferences all the time to do that. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you do that or how that even works. Yeah.
Anyway, let's go back to your HP printer. My HP.
Oh, back to the HP printer. So I just decided to hell with it, and I took my printer. My printer's still sitting out in the foyer here, and I should really just throw it out. It was perfectly working if I wanted to use their ink cartridges. But if I didn't want to use their ink cartridges, I couldn't use secondhand ink cartridges because they wouldn't work no matter how hard you try. And here's what happens. When you first sign in, when you first get your HP printer, and if you get an HP printer, listen to me, folks. Do not, under any conditions, say that you want to, what is it? There's something you have to do.
Sign up for the HP
You sign
Plus.
up for the HP Plus because they say, oh, you get better service and you get better subscriptions and things like that. Well, what it also does is it locks in the machine to only use HP printer cartridges. If you don't sign that up for that, the HP Plus, you can use the secondhand cartridges. So don't ever sign up for the HP Plus. Well, I made that mistake and I was locked in. So finally I just said, to hell with it. I don't care if it's going to cost me more. I went out and I bought a, what is it I have here? Epson with the ink tanks.
That's what I got.
And the ink is cheap and there's a ton of it. I mean, I filled this thing up when I first got the machine maybe 8 months ago, and it's only still half empty, you know? And then if I want to fill it up, you just go ahead and get these things and you just pour them in there, you know? And it's the best way to go because yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
You don't know the model number by any chance? I'm going to write it down. And when HP, yeah, they've got bunches of lawsuits over this, and they're supposed to call me on, and with the tech support has been escalated to somebody that's going to probably tell me, hey, tough shit. But if you have an Epson model number, then I'll just throw this thing out.
Well, the Epson. Basically, it's the Epson. It's the only ones that are out there.
Okay,
You know?
and it has a tank on it.
And
You
has it-
refill the little tanks. Okay.
No, you don't rebuild the tanks. What happens is it has a tank. Refill them. And you just yeah. And as I say, I can't believe how long this ink goes.
Okay.
You know. So now here's somebody called admin. Oh, these people are just trying like crazy. They're nuts. You know, don't waste your time, because you're not wasting my time. I don't care. You know, I just remove you, and you can waste your time. And from here on in, if anybody calls, unless I know your name and I know who you are, I won't accept it. Okay, so don't waste your time. You're going to be just sitting there doing nothing.
I would have expected your HP printer to go out the 8th floor store, right?
Well, you
In
know,
the middle of the
no,
night.
I have it sitting there in case somebody wants it. You know, but they're going to have to, and you're going to have to pay for those ink cartridges, which you know are like $100 a piece or something. They're ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it really is not a good thing. So it's sad. But so what were you doing with yours this week?
After 2 years, I want to shut it off. I don't want to get it. I just got brand new inkjet cartridges sent to me by HP because it took me 2 years to go through the cartridges, and they just sent me new ones. And I said, well, you know, now I really don't want it anymore. Well, guess what? The brand new ones that are filled up become bricked, basically. And
why are they bricks? Wait, why do they become bricks?
Because you can't use them because you're no longer on HP Plus. They're programmed for the program. So now you can go out if I want, even though I paid for these for the past 18 months to get them. Now I've got to go out and throw those away and buy brand new ones that are not part of the program. And you're right, you have to buy HP. You can't use the generics.
Right, but you can use the generics if you didn't sign up for the HP Plus.
Now I'm a dummy.
And why somebody? I mean, obviously people are suing them over this.
Lots of lawsuits, actually.
And yet none of them have come to fruition.
I don't know. I didn't go that far. Wayne says that they're called Eco Tank series.
The what?
Eco Tank.
Eco Tank series. Your Epson.
Right.
It's called a Kiko?
Eco.
Like
Eco Tank. Yeah, Eco Tank. Yeah. But, you know, that's the main one they have, you know, so.
Right. Well, I'm gonna look into that if I want to stay with it. I was looking for a laser
No.
printer, black and white. But the trouble is that they're bigger in footprint size than I have room to set them.
And you know something? You really don't want them. Those you want to talk about expensive ink?
Yeah.
You know, that's
Those
expensive
color
ink.
cartridges, wow.
Yep.
Years ago, when HP made the first laser printers, you remember the first laser printers, guys? They were incredible. And so incredible, they never broke. They never went bad.
Yeah.
What? They never went bad, Alex? No, they never went bad. Plain and simple.
And they went out of business because nobody ever had to buy new ones.
Well, what happened was I had one and it never went bad. I had it for like 5 years. I wanted a newer printer. You know, they were making them better and faster and things like, but no, I still had this printer. And the guys supposedly at companies and stuff where they had these printers so wanted to get new printers that in order to get their company to buy a new one, they threw like paper clips into the thing and did everything they could to make it break because they just lasted forever. Now that's not true anymore, but I got to tell you, we've had this this new printer, this Epson EcoPrint, and it's worked perfectly. You know, no problems at all. Very few jams and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I would just say to anybody, do not buy an HP printer.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right. I would never buy another HP product.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I said to the guy, I said, I'm going to make sure that everybody I'm on a couple podcasts. I'm on a couple different places. I'm going to make sure everybody knows your policy is to screw the customer. If you want that type of business, that's fine. And they said, well, let me escalate this up and somebody will get in touch with you. I thought, sure. Well, actually, somebody sent me an email today and said, let them know when I'm convenient and they'll make time for me and we'll try and fix this problem.
Well, why don't you let them call you? Why don't you let them?
I'm going to. They're going to call tomorrow afternoon.
Let us know what happened. You'll be our test vehicle on this deal.
Yeah.
Because
they're probably going to tell me to go out and buy inkjet cartridges that are not part of the program. So I mean, it's also very wasteful because they have a cartridge that they sent you that's brand new, that's full of ink, and so you're going to throw that in the trash. If they give me a bag, I'm going to ask them to send me a bag. If they give me a bag, I'm going to throw it in the bag. And I'm going to go out and find Tony's dog and pick up a little dog poop and put it in there and send it to them. So they can't use it either.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a horrible policy, and I don't know why HP continues to do it. And they've been doing it for years now. It's not like they started this policy yesterday. They've been doing this for years now, and just pissing people off. Do they really want people to be pissed off at their product?
Just quickly, I saw 5 class action lawsuits going on.
Really?
I didn't look into them closely enough because I had other things going on, but they have at least 5 of them going on over this plus plan.
Look, I understand that they supply a printer. Maybe they try to supply it at a reasonable price.
I paid $300 for it.
Right, but you're not paying a reasonable price anymore. But they figure they'll make the money. It's like the razor with the razor blades.
Yeah, I think in business they call it the Codex.
Yeah, they clean up on the ink.
Yeah. So they clean up on the ink, and it really shouldn't be. And apparently, if there are some decent people out there, they'll take care of this in a better way.
We'll see what happens.
It's just that it's such bad. Oh, here's Kevin. Let's make sure this is Kevin. Okay, let me just.
I just watched you Breaking Bad again.
Huh?
You got me addicted. I'm almost done with Breaking Bad. You're right, Alex.
I don't think we were talking about Breaking Bad.
I know. I'm sorry. Watch another episode. I'm hoping.
Let me see here. Let me just put my picture up here for a second. Let's bring in Kevin, and it's probably Kevin, I would imagine. Yeah, it's Kevin. Yeah. It's Kevin.
It's me.
Yeah, it's Kevin. Hi, Kevin. How are you?
Hi, Alex. How are you?
How you doing?
Good. So you like those e-tanks, don't you?
I like the e-tanks. Yeah.
Yeah, I told you about them for a couple of years, and you never went for it. And you finally did.
I don't know if they refill well. Because
they refill great.
Well, wait a minute, because I've never had to refill it.
Yeah, okay.
You won't have to for about a year.
Yeah.
Really?
If you're still on your if you're still on your initial tank, you probably won't have to for about a year.
I saw it in Costco too, Alex. I was looking at that printer. I was thinking about buying one.
Yeah,
this here is the
Epson. I can't recommend enough. You know.
That's one I saw. They had the Epson when I was checking out. I was looking at it.
That's the refill.
That's the refill for $15.
That's it.
And you'll fill up the whole tank and have that much left in the bottom. And I did this probably a year ago.
Well, I still have. I have a whole. I bought a set of theirs because they're cheap too when you buy the new ink.
Yeah, that's what I just said. Yeah.
That's what he was just talking about.
Cheap. And I ordered a whole set of those. And I've got them sitting up there waiting to go. And I got a couple of the blacks, the tanks of black.
I did the same thing, thinking I was going to have to use them, and they sat for probably a year and a half.
Yeah, yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Kevin, how many sheets of paper did you use so far, if you had to guess?
I probably pumped through reams of paper.
So at least 500 sheets already?
Oh, at least. Because my daughter prints her stuff on. My daughter prints her stuff for school. Color.
I'm going to have to get one of these and try it out.
The printers are more expensive, but the ink is not.
Yeah, I was going to say. That sounds
all right. Good. Thanks for the suggestion, guys. We'll see what HP says about what they're going to do. I doubt they're going to do anything. They can send me, since I'm going to quit their plan, they can send me cartridges that'll work. They can send maybe a code and make these cartridges work because they're HP cartridges. Or they can have a bad customer that's going to spread news like I am right now.
But you know, you're not the only one. No. Everybody I know who's had an HP complains about this and says, I'll never buy another HP.
That's right.
So
what turned me off to them years ago was probably about when I bought this 3 years ago, was when I started going to Costco and getting them refilled, and you bring them back and you put them in the machine and it says it's empty, and it's still got that much in it, or it says this machine does not accept that cartridge, and you pump it through and force it through and it works, but then it says it's empty and it's still got quite a bit of ink left in it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a perfectly well working HP sitting out in the foyer, just sitting there because I don't want to use it.
And mine ended up in the garage. So.
And if you don't put in the new cartridges, let's say, okay, what the machine does, it does more than print. Okay, it makes copies, it makes faxes, does all of that. If you don't have, if a cartridge goes out and you don't have a cartridge in there to replace it, guess what happens to your faxing ability and your copying ability? Am I right?
None of that works.
Huh?
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Really? Wow.
Yes. It won't work. All the other features won't work either.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah.
See, I got out of it before that subscription stuff.
Yeah.
You.
But if you buy an HP and you don't sign up for the HP Plus, which doesn't give you anything anyway, then you can use any cartridges that anybody puts out.
Yep. And basically, in the past 18 months, the first 6 months is free. They give you starter cartridges. But
they're going to.
The past 18 months, I basically paid what I would have paid retail for their cartridges to start with, and I can never use generics now that I'm part of this.
Yeah.
Right. But if you don't sign up for the HP Plus, you will be able to use the generics.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or just the regular cartridges and not have to go through this.
But you see, the thing is, there's no warning that HP gives you. Like, warning, if you do this, if you sign up for HP Plus, you get this and you get that, but you also aren't able to use anything else but our cartridges.
Right.
If they said that, then I wouldn't sign up for the HP Plus.
I wouldn't have signed up either. I read the contract pretty thoroughly, so.
Which is why they don't tell you.
Yeah.
Because if they told you, you wouldn't sign up for it.
But, companies are doing this all the time. Services and so on are horrible. I mean, try and solve a problem with services. You know, try calling any of your tech supports for any of these companies. They don't want to talk to you. There was a time when at least you got a phone number you could call. They don't even have phone numbers you can call anymore.
Yeah, they make it almost impossible for you to talk to a real person.
Yeah, right. So, you know, I mean, they make it impossible for you to, and then if you do talk to somebody, like, have you ever tried the chat on those tech support things?
That's what I'm talking about.
Whoa, boy. I got on tech support the other day with, what was it, BritBox, okay? Because I had a problem with BritBox that every time I signed on to it, they wanted me to sign in. Well, you know, usually with most of those apps, you sign in, and they then stay signed in, okay? Yeah. But they didn't. So I get online and I'm asking this person, what's wrong? He says, do this, do that. Go get the number of the app, the serial number of the app. Do the, and I'm going. Finally, I say, enough is enough. All I want you to do is to tell me how I can do this without having to sign in every time. I finally figured it out personally. I just went on to BritBox Online, signed in there, and then I find out now I don't have to sign in ever again. But they didn't tell me that.
So I'm surprised with all the people.
I spent an hour. What?
I'm surprised with all the people that hack software and stuff that there's not a online. I guess I could look for it. How to hack the HP Plus in order to get it to work with their cartridges.
I think it's hack proof. I don't think you can do it, quite frankly.
Nothing's hack proof. I don't know. I really don't know. I haven't looked into that. We'll see. We'll see what they say tomorrow.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
If they even call, who knows?
Let us know what they say tomorrow. I would love to know.
I will.
You know, I would love to know what their
They'll probably say, "Do you fish? It makes a good fishing weight."
Yeah. But I literally was on with BritBox on their chat for like an hour.
It's worthless. They want to know who your girlfriend was in 3rd grade before the pop.
Yes. And I can't even remember who she was. So.
Yeah, but they ask all kinds of questions that are not pertinent to your product.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm getting sick of, and I don't know about the rest of you. You know, if somebody wants to steal my identity, go ahead. I really don't give it.
You'll have no life.
I like Bubble.
Bubble
says then he'd have no life. Go ahead, steal
another
my
guy
identity.
going around with no life.
What?
Yeah.
What do you say?
Yeah, there's another guy going around with no life. Is the line?
Yeah. So I
mean, the interesting thing is that nowadays Social Security numbers are used everywhere, and it's very easy to find somebody. I could probably, if I knew your first name, middle name, and last name, and I'm pretty good at detective work, and your date of birth, probably totally legally, I could find out your Social Security number in 10 or 15
Well, you know,
minutes.
these guys aren't what I call brain trusts, okay?
No.
Because there's a thing that Marjorie's been getting a lot, and I get occasionally, and that's a thing that says, by the way, here's the receipt for the bill for your blah, 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 crypto blah, 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 that you did on and then they say on what's the PayPal, on PayPal.
PayPal, yeah.
Well, all you have to do is go to PayPal and look to make sure they didn't charge that to you.
You would never come.
That's all you have to do. So how these guys think they're putting anything over on somebody is beyond me.
They call that phishing, I think.
It's phishing, and they figure the 1 in a million might actually.
My mother used to talk. I used to do it to my mother on the phone, Alex, and I used to say, "Ma, who are you talking to?" She's doing like service. I used to just hang the phone up on her. It's not enough. Because she, you know, they get somebody like her, an old person. She doesn't know like anything. She couldn't handle anything.
Yeah, so I tell Marjorie, do not answer any of those things.
I used to always hang up on. I used to take the phone off the when I used to leave.
But we don't even have good con artists these days. They
got to come up with it, but they play on you weak, I think, right, Alex? The older person, not to say because you're up to date with everything, but there's people who are just totally like Alex. I'm going to tell you something, and one thing I find very cool about you to tell you is that you're up to date with stuff. I speak to people that are younger than you, And it's like they can't even work anything. It's like, how do they leave the house?
But yet, I fear for older people because this is really preying on older people who don't understand computers completely. And when they get something like this, like, we've got trouble with your service at Chase Manhattan Bank, okay? Click here and resolve your problem. And then they ask you a whole bunch of questions. Before you know it, you've been hacked.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. So, but it's just that we don't make laws against this that are strong enough. Like, I'm figuring for these guys who make an old person give away half their money because they accidentally clicked on a link, okay? I think they should get the death penalty.
I mean, that's
okay. I've never been one for the death penalty, but I'll make an exception where that's concerned.
How about hung from a tree by their testicles?
Well, I think that's the death penalty.
Yeah.
I don't know. The people, they send out these spam text messages, and it says your Chase Bank credit card has been hacked, and this is the way you fix it.
Never click on
and I think I don't have a Chase credit card.
Yeah, I got one of those, and I never had to chase anything.
But then what you realize is that you sent this to 7 million people.
They're just hoping for one person.
That 7 million people, they're going to find people that have it, and that are going to think that it's been hacked.
I'm not ageist, I don't think, when I say this, because at 84, it's very hard for me to be ageist.
Yeah.
Okay, but I mean, I think that most of the people who are going to be harmed by this are older people, because they're the people who least. But when you say younger people do too, they just screw them. If they don't know better, they should be smarter about this. But I just think that we have done nothing as a government to crack down on this sort of behavior. We've just gone, well, it's bad, and we're going to write a law against it. Well, I'm sorry. First you got to catch the guy.
You got to catch. I was going to ask you, Alex. I asked this to my brother because he's into computers and stuff for the city. And do you think, Alex, that the internet companies give out our emails and they get these spam and build lists? Because that should be more private. I think you should go after those people.
Who are you saying does what?
Do you think like Fios and them give out our emails, or Google?
I don't think they do.
Do you think they farm them out for advertisement?
I don't think they do, because I don't think they want to be caught in any kind of a situation where they've been giving out information, your private information. Even if it's innocuous, I don't think they want that reputation. Okay.
Facebook does it though.
Oh,
somebody
Facebook
does it because you get all these unsolicited.
Yeah, you get a lot of unsolicited. I mean, I
do
less.
it. A lot of them do it, and they tell you in the fine print.
Here's the one that Marjorie mentioned. Marjorie was looking up neuropathy because of my feet, and the fact that I have neuropathy and I have trouble kind of walking a little bit because my legs are weaker than they should be, and so on. And she just looked on for stuff for me that might work. She saw some kind of a product that was on Shark Tank, and so she was looking for it. She looked for it, and that was that, right? All of a sudden, she's getting email like crazy about neuropathy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but worse than that, and here is the part that is the worst part of it all right? She goes to YouTube, and all of a sudden she has a lot more things about neuropathy.
I was doing
how does one speak to the other?
That's
I got one. I got one better.
Okay.
I'm asking my daughter to do a picture of my car so that I can make up little stickers to hand out to kids.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, no looking for it or anything. All of a sudden, I'm getting ads for stickers on Facebook.
They watch what you're doing, yeah.
Really?
They
is your
listen to you.
1971 Pinto?
This is what they listen.
Really?
Yeah, I think you're right, Kevin.
I didn't look for it or nothing. And all of a sudden, they start, 100 stickers for $15.
I think you're listening.
Yeah, I do too. Seriously. Because I never looked for any, but they showed up. And they've been showing up for 3 or 4 days now.
It's terrible.
And I just talked to my daughter about it.
It's terrible.
I use a VPN everywhere I go. Right
Doesn't
now,
matter. It's still going to get through.
It's still going to get through.
I guess if they're listening, but
if I said I want naked women at my house. If I do
I think, quite frankly, I think VPNs are a big waste of time too.
No, I don't think so, because I get ads in whatever language they speak in Sweden, because my VPN takes me to Sweden, and so they have.
So you're getting the ads; they're just in a different language,
right? But I don't understand them, so I throw them away. Right. So. Yeah, I mean, my computer's the same way. It runs on the VPN all the time, and and I've got it set to New York, and so I get restaurant deals for New York. So I know the VPN's working.
Well, yeah, but I don't like the VPN because it does. There is a value to your computer knowing where you are. Mm-hmm. In just things like dealing with banks and so on. Yeah. If you deal with a bank and then you go on the VPN, you have to almost reestablish completely who you are with the bank.
Yeah, I only have one program that does that. So and I know to turn the VPN off, get on, and then turn the VPN back on. It's Citibank, so no problem. When I start doing financial stuff with them, it's going to be through the VPN.
Well, I'll tell you. Okay, I have what's the major VPN company? Nord. So I have Nord. Okay. Somehow I got signed up for another version of Nord, which is the more expensive version. Okay. Now I wanted to get rid of one of them, and there was nobody I could get a hold of at Nord to get rid of one of them. Yeah, now tell me about this. Is a company that's supposed to be all for security and that. How did I wind up They should have said, "Hey, you've got 2 accounts here. Well, do you want to get rid of one of them?" No, they don't do that at all. And then when you get a hold of them and say, "How do I get rid of it?" There's no way to get rid of it.
Was one under one name and one under?
No, they were both under the same name.
Oh wow!
So you want to talk about a rip-off company? Try Nord sometime.
I don't know. They're based in Panama.
Oh, okay. And if you want to talk to the people of Nord, try and do it.
Yeah. You got to do it in an email or the online chat.
Yeah, but so you've made the internet safer for me from other people, but not from you.
That is VPN.
Do you ever have any troubles like this, Tom?
No, I don't have a VPN.
I mean, but do you have any of these problems where you get this very suspicious mail and you don't know what to do with it?
My Mac knows what to do with it. Put it in the junk. Put it in the junk mail folder.
But I got to tell you, Marjorie a couple of times has fallen for this. She's fallen big time for this. By the way, here comes Don Giller, and I know this has got to be Don Giller. Either that or if it's a phony Don Giller, I don't care. Even a phony Don Giller is... Hello, Don, are you there? Oh, don't tell me. Let me just make sure it's... let me put my face up here.
Sure it is.
Oh, there it is. There he is.
Look at this Beatles cover again.
Porno.
This isn't a rerun?
It is now.
We're talking about HP printers and VPNs. I'm sure you have an opinion.
I waited till you exhausted the discussion on.
Oh, okay, good.
Good luck with that.
Because my image writer still works. So
your image writer,
your dot matrix.
Dot matrix, yeah.
VPNs, I love them.
Yeah.
Let's say that you want to see a YouTube video from Canada, and for some reason, you can't because you're not from Canada. So you set up your VPN to Ottawa, so you can watch the video.
Absolutely.
And you can disable it whenever you want. That as was already said. You don't have to keep it on.
I tried it one time with England, with some show I wanted to watch in England, and I turned on the VPN and I aimed it at London, right? And I was able to watch the show, but I had to watch it on my computer, and I don't like watching shows on my computer. I like watching shows on my TV set.
So what's really better is the last time I flew somewhere, I've had this VPN for 5 years.
By the way,
right?
somebody should explain what VPN is to people who don't know.
Virtual private network. It shows your IP address is not your true one. It's the one you're renting through whatever the VPN.
It doesn't use your local IP address. It
That's
goes
right.
to
So
a
they
VPN.
can't trace you.
Yeah.
So I looked at an airline ticket from here to Chicago to go visit family, and they wanted, I don't know, this is 5-6 years ago. They wanted $600 round trip from the Bay Area. So I thought, well, let's change this. I'm not going to book it. Let's change it to New Mexico or Mississippi or something. I changed it to Mississippi. Now the ticket's half the cost.
Really?
Yeah. Because the cost of it, they figure people have more money in the San Francisco Bay Area than they do in Mississippi.
Yeah, but then you got to drive to Mississippi to get the ticket.
Oh, is that it? No, you don't. I could have bought it online.
Yeah. Oh, with the Mac, you just go into incognito mode. You go into private mode when you're doing
Same thing. That's what a VPN does, is incognito.
No, incognito is completely different, isn't it?
LA to Chicago from here, and then
private browsing is what they call
it. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. So you set up to do that, and you're okay, right?
That's right.
Well, you're only pissed at Nord because you had 2 accounts somehow. But
but I mean, if I have 2 accounts, a good company should say, "Hey, we noticed here you have 2 accounts that are, one's a higher version of the lower one you've got." And then they're going to they ask you if you wanted it that way.
And a good company will say, we noticed you've had it for 4 months. We've been charging you for it. So we'll give you 4 months on a refund, or we'll give you 6 months of extra VPN time or something like that to make it right.
So
are they charging you for both accounts?
Yes.
Oh, heck.
I buy my
and try and call them, and you can't get a hold of anybody.
Oh, no. Nobody answers the phone in Panama, so
yeah,
that's where they're based at.
What? But
so did you hear Willie Mays died?
Yeah, really. Thank you.
Yeah.
That sucks. I'm real sad about that.
Wait a minute.
He's 93.
He was 93.
I know he was, but it bums me out.
Some of us are old enough to actually seen him play.
Yeah.
I saw him play many times.
I saw him play too.
Well, and listen, anybody's from the Bay Area,
that's from my damn childhood.
Don't knock
there.
Willie Mays, okay?
Makes me feel old.
They still have the statue of Willie Mays at.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, at Oracle, yeah.
Yeah. What's it now these days?
It's Oracle today, yeah.
Oh, it's Oracle now. Yeah.
Who knows what it'll be tomorrow?
Whoever buys it next.
I remember when it was Pac Bell, and I think before that it was, what was it initially?
It was originally Pac Bell.
Yeah, originally it was Pac Bell.
Adam Coleco.
And it was AT&T.
Yeah.
And it went to Oracle. Phones gave it up and took a computer.
What's new and exciting, Geller?
Does anyone or everyone here ever hear of a pianist named Cecil Taylor?
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Yes, jazz
blues,
musician.
isn't he? Blues player? Blues pianist?
Yeah.
A free jazz, but a classically trained free jazz pianist. He died, I think, in 2018. Yeah, 2018.
Now we're gonna cry over it.
Well, you mentioned Willie Mays.
I know I didn't. Kevin did, but Willie Mays just died today or yesterday. So
yeah, but he died at 93. I should live so long. Okay. Anyway, what were you saying, Geller?
Dan Gelmer. Call me Dan Gelmer.
Okay, Dan Gelmer. What?
He was. I went to Antioch from 69 to 73. There'll be a quiz. And Cecil was in 71. He was the artist in residence at University of Wisconsin in Madison, and he led his own quartet called the Cecil Taylor Unit.
Yeah,
and he also organized a jazz ensemble in Madison called the Lake Mendota Players.
I have something I used to call the Alex Bennett Unit, but it's another thing altogether.
Yeah, well, they've got your picture in the bathroom.
I know this guy.
So anyways, you were saying.
So in April 71, they came down to Antioch to perform. And I was working at I wasn't really working, but at any rate, the radio station asked me to tape the concert. And there were 2 concerts that day. There was the afternoon concert by the Lake Mendota Players. That lasted around 2.5 hours. In which after it was over, I made a dub for them. And then that evening, Cecil Taylor came on to perform. And that was a hour 47-minute concert.
Yeah.
And I stayed up all night, made dubs for the station, for Cecil. I kept the masters. In the morning, there are other players. Sam Rivers, very famous saxophonist and flautist, jazz flautist. Jimmy Lyons, alto sax player, and the drummer is Andrew Cyril. He's the only one still alive. So I met up with them the next morning to give them a copy of the concert, which is, I realized, neither here nor there. I kept the masters, hadn't played it in 53 years. I took it out. I found it a couple of months ago. Another long story, which I'm going to, well, we have, 9 minutes. I can fill that. I had to get workable reel-to-reel decks. They arrived on Saturday. I digitized the tapes. And what I didn't remember was that the Cecil Taylor concert, the sound was spectacular. It was the finest recording that I'd ever heard of these people playing. And so I made a video. I had to find a whole bunch of visuals to add to the audio, and I put it up Monday morning around 3 a.m. and it has not gone viral. One wouldn't expect it to.
Right.
But the people who know this stuff were amazed.
Wow.
This is on reel to reel, I take it?
Yeah. Because it's a newly heard concert by one of the last times that Sam Rivers played in the quartet. Again, the sound is impeccable. I'm getting emails and messages from jazz aficionados who are just thrilled that this stuff exists. And we have another 8 minutes, so I'll stop.
Well, I got to tell you, who I recorded when I was in the Navy, they sent me over to the Coconut Grove to record Sammy Davis Jr. And for years I had a copy of that tape. I don't know where it is now any longer.
I may have it.
You might have it. It was slightly overmodulated, but for the most part, it was a.
It was. It was peaking.
What time of day was that?
You have a copy of it, I imagine. Yeah.
I'm sorry. You're asking what time?
I asked. Well, you're so good with times and dates. What time of day was that done?
Night.
Oh well, the Lake Mendota was in the afternoon, and Cecil's concert was that evening.
That evening. Okay.
Okay.
Are you satisfied now, Alan?
I am.
Well, okay.
This guy has a memory, a great memory.
Yeah.
Not bad for 40.
Yeah, I can't remember your name.
I got to tell you, I'm amazed. Every now and then I mention Geller's name to somebody, and they go, "Of course I know who that is." You are very well known. You are very well known, my friend, because people see that name on YouTube like crazy.
They know Geller. They don't know Giller.
Giller, I mean Don Giller. Don Gelmer. Don Gelmer. That's what it is. Yeah.
Gilner, yeah.
The other thing, you're talking about troll calling. I had troll phone calls, and I haven't gotten them in a while. A guy with an accent.
They all call from under a bridge.
Yeah. And they said, look, you're having a problem with your PC, and we want to help you fix it.
Yeah.
Which of course means that they want me to give them codes and stuff so they can get into the computer and steal whatever they can or infect it. So I'd say So first of all, I don't have a PC.
Well, I keep them on forever.
Well, that's what I do. I said, look, my grandson gave me this. I don't know how this works. Please help me. And I just act like a complete idiot, just wasting their time.
Well, when I'm through with them after a while, after I've wasted their time for maybe 10, 20 minutes, I go, oh, by the way, I have a Mac. That's what I'm using.
And then they start getting pissed off, and I'll tell them, you called me.
Yeah.
Well, it was like my friend
Checky.
No. My friend Chuck Farnham, who whenever Seventh-day Adventists would come to the door of his home to try and sell him Bibles or whatever they go to door selling, he would open the door stark naked. He would see them out there, and he'd just take his clothes off and answer the door.
I had a roommate that when they come knocking on the door, he would just tell them, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm gay."
Yeah.
And they would never come back again.
Either that, or with people who are trying to do something with you with a spam call, I just simply start swearing at them and calling them names, and they say, "Well, that isn't very nice." I said, "Hey, I didn't call you.
Yeah.
You called me, pal." Anyway, so. Oh, hey, I'm looking. I got about 2 minutes left before I got to play the theme. So, Geller.
Who?
Geller. You want to go tell us that long story?
I forgot.
No, but now's the perfect time.
But I got to tell you, Geller, every time I mention your name to somebody, they go, "Oh, yeah, I know who he is."
Yeah, like who? My sister?
I mentioned it to my ex-producer, Albert Reynoso. I said, Don Giller. He goes, "Of course I know Don Giller."
Yeah, we've been buddies for a long time.
Yeah, you've been buddies for a long time. The whole world knows who you are.
He used to produce one of my radio shows.
Yeah, right, of course. Anyway, so let's see here. With 1 minute left, what can we say that hasn't been said already tonight?
Remember, I found the Doors autograph, but maybe this isn't. This was the follow-up to last Friday, so maybe we can put this up.
Yeah. Last Friday I watched the video. I wasn't on it. I watched it. Did you notice how red you were, Alex?
How red I was?
Yeah. Nobody mentioned it, so maybe it was just the replay.
No,
I replayed it over the weekend.
Well, it could be your computer.
Could be, but you're not red now.
No, but I'm not any. I haven't changed it any different.
And nobody else on the show was out of color.
Well, I'll go look at last Fridays and see how.
I mean, it doesn't really matter, but you were normally you adjust your color, but you were pretty red.
Well, I've been out in the sun a lot. How's that?
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah.
Alex is a well-read person.
So I'm a well-read person. Yes. I was about ready to get around to that joke, but thank you for beating it to me, Charlie. Hey, Tom, always great to have you here. I always, whenever I see your name on the list here before I click the thing to bring everybody on Zoom, I go, wow, this is going to be a good one. Thank you, Tom. I really
One thing I noticed, it used to have your Zoom link on your YouTube page, and I couldn't find it. I had to go to your website to find it.
On the YouTube page? I didn't know it's
there.
Yeah,
it used to be at the bottom.
Yeah, it's there.
It's there.
So I got in.
I couldn't find it, but
It's
anyway.
It's there
the
right
comments.
now. I look at it. It's right there. Okay.
Okay.
Drops
great.
down.
Yeah.
They stopped producing it in California.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. I still was
Anyway,
able to find
thank
it. I went to your webpage, so that's okay.
And you're on a PC. That's
Thank
why.
you, Alan. Thank you, Charlie. We have not heard one word from Jeff. Say something, Jeff.
Your mic.
His mic is off. Anyway, thank you so much.
Good night, everybody.
Okay.
He's been talking nonstop.
Thank you so much, Tony. Thank you to Kevin, and of course, the fabulous Don Gelman.
My name is Dick Hertz.
Dick Hertz, right?
Dick Hertz.
Yes.
Friend of Hugh Jessole.
Everybody, give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give a big wave goodbye at you, okay? There we go, folks. There they go. And here I come to say goodbye to all you people out there, thank you so much for joining us. By the way, Amy Emanuel is next. She's going to be here with The Intersection. You can call her on Skype at GabNet Live. I'll see you again tomorrow. Same time, same station in life. In the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Night, everybody.